All right, America, it's intervention time. We all have them. Those shadowy corners of our homes, the forbidden zones of garages and attics, absolutely crammed with purchases for that one specific scenario. Today, we're dragging 101 of the most spectacularly useless, hilariously misguided, and downright dumb things Americans bought into the harsh light of day, all for emergencies that, shockingly, never materialized. Get ready to nod, cringe, and maybe even see your own questionable shopping history. 1. They bought a fog machine for home security ambiance. The plan? If intruders ever broke in, they'd be disoriented by dramatic mist. In practice, it triggered every smoke detector, traumatized the dog, and caused 3 stubbed toes. The only thing it ever scared away was dinner guests and dignity. 2. A grappling hook. Yes, seriously. Not for climbing, but for retrieving snacks without getting up. After one shattered bowl of popcorn and a tragic TV screen incident, it was quietly retired. Apparently, not everything seen in action movies should be applied to sofa-based laziness. 3. Someone bought a tactical glitter grenade for self-defense. The theory? Blind your attacker with sparkles and shame. It exploded accidentally during a barbecue, leaving one cousin sparkling for a week. Because nothing screams survivalist like a face full of biodegradable fabulousness. 4. The remote-controlled outlet switch set. Because getting up to unplug a lamp was the hill you refused to die on. Now the remotes are lost, the switches are mismatched, and you just use the wall switch like some kind of pioneer. 5. A full set of emergency diplomacy puppets. Handmade sock characters meant to diffuse family fights with interpretive roleplay. You haven't known chaos until Aunt Linda yelled at a googly-eyed puppet named Neutral Nancy. The ceasefire didn't last. 6. That novelty helmet with drink holders and straws. The ultimate party hat for tailgates or the apocalypse. Because if things go south, you'll want hydration hands-free, whether it's beer, soda, or whatever liquid rationing allows. Now it's just a dust collector that makes your storage closet look permanently hungover. 7. The Parallel Universe Emergency Pack included a spinning compass, fake alien cache, and a phrasebook for galactic gleep-glorp. Bought just in case you slip into another dimension while changing the channel. Laugh now, but when you need to order coffee on Planet Zorg, you'll be sorry. 8. A motion-activated applause machine. Installed in the hallway. Every time someone walked past, it clapped, enthusiastically. They said it was for morale. The cat triggered it at 3 a.m. for 2 months straight. That machine's now in the garage. Still applauding, for no one. 9. They purchased a Medieval Knight's helmet to protect against solar flares. No joke. Their theory, when the sun finally melts electronics, only the armored will survive. It's currently worn by a floor lamp in the corner, possibly still guarding us from radiation, possibly just confused. 10. A USB-powered campfire simulator. Glows orange, crackles softly, provides zero heat or purpose. It was supposed to rekindle primal instincts during desk work. All it did was make co-workers think they were microdosing. The only thing it burned was their credibility. 11. A set of commemorative spoons from all 50 states. Bought in one sleepless night, just in case spoon diplomacy became a thing. They're still in their velvet case, unopened. Somewhere out there, a peace treaty may hinge on Rhode Island. But until then, they just sit, untouched, judging. 12. They got a biometric lunchbox to keep their sandwich safe. From whom? No one knows. It locked shut the day the tuna salad went in and never opened again. HR had to intervene. The stench remains an office legend. Moral: some locks are best left analog. 13. A programmable emergency smile trainer. A silicone mask that tugs your face into a grin for 15 minutes a day. Promised to make you naturally upbeat. In reality, it made you look like a haunted wax figure. Even your reflection asked, "You good?" 14. A glow-in-the-dark toilet brush named Sir Scrub-a-Lot. The marketing? Make hygiene fun in a blackout. The result? Guests screaming at midnight because your bathroom glowed like a radioactive disco. Hygiene? Questionable. Hysteria? Guaranteed. 15. A taxidermy squirrel in a Civil War uniform. Full medals. Tiny saber. Why? They believed that, should time-traveling squirrel historians arrive, inspiration would be necessary. It's now a living room general, commanding dust, and the deepest corner of everyone's concern. 16. A Bluetooth-enabled toothbrush that sings motivational quotes. Bought to build habits during the end times. After 2 uses, it started glitching and screamed, "Crush the day," at 3 a.m. Now it lives in the drawer. The plaque won. 17. That unbreakable comb. Purchased with the defiant cry, "Never again will a comb tooth betray me." It was for that potential future where all lesser combs have shattered, leaving humanity with hopelessly tangled hair. Now, it just gathers dust, undefeated and unused. 18. A high-powered dog whistle, audible only to canines. The owner imagined themselves as a silent guardian, capable of controlling every dog in a 5-mile radius, should the need arise to, perhaps, form a friendly dog army. The neighborhood dogs remain largely unimpressed. 19. A year's supply of freeze-dried astronaut ice cream. Because when terrestrial food sources are compromised, the logical next step is obviously dessert designed for zero gravity. It wasn't for a space mission, just for that unlikely eventuality of an ice cream emergency on Earth. 20. They impulse bought a luxury emergency sob room tent, marketed as a wellness cocoon for stress meltdowns. Inside, 1 beanbag, a mirror, and affirmations like, "You're not failing, you're pre-successing." It lasted 2 cries before becoming a spider hotel. 21. A stash of vintage road maps covering every state from Maine to Utah was collected in case GPS satellites got knocked out by a solar flare, nuclear war, or a particularly vengeful pigeon. Never mind the fact the driver hasn't left the county since 2012 and can't fold a map without summoning rage. 22. The never-lost keychain beeper. You press a button on the base, and the keychain beeps. Fantastic, unless you lose the base, or the keys, or both. It was a safeguard against misplacing things, which, ironically, often became one of the misplaced things itself. 23. A portable miniature rock-climbing wall for your fingers. Yes, for finger strength training, on the off chance you suddenly need to scale a very, very small cliff face using only your digits. Or, more likely, to look busy at your desk. 24. Those shoe covers like the kind surgeons wear. Dozens of them. For what exactly? To protect your pristine floors from some unforeseen muddy guest invasion? Or perhaps for that spontaneous, sterile home surgery you're not qualified to perform. Let's be real. 25. A ghost hunting kit complete with EMF meter and dowsing rods. Acquired after a late-night paranormal investigation show binge, ready for that moment when Casper and his buddies decide your attic is the new hotspot. The only spirits it's detected so far are the ones in the liquor cabinet. 26. That miniature desk Zen garden, complete with tiny rake and polished stones. Purchased to bring tranquility to a hectic office environment, it mostly just accumulated dust and rogue paper clips, offering 0 actual Zen. Did yours ever get raked more than twice? 27. An electric wine bottle opener. Because the sheer physical strain of using a traditional corkscrew was apparently a bridge too far, especially when anticipating a relaxing evening on the patio. Now it just sits there, needing batteries, while the trusty old waiter's friend does all the work. 28. A portable, inflatable hot tub. The dream. Luxurious spa days in your own backyard. The reality, hours to inflate, hours to fill, hours to heat, only to be used once before the effort felt monumental. How long did yours stay inflated before becoming a deflated monument to ambition? 29. That intricate kite shaped like a dragon or a majestic eagle. It looked amazing in the packaging. In the park? It spent more time tangled in a tree or nosediving into the grass than soaring gracefully. All for that one perfect Instagram shot that never quite happened. 30. A specialized avocado tool. Slicer, pitter, scooper, all in one. Bought with visions of perfectly prepared avocado toast every morning. Now it's just another gadget cluttering the drawer because, let's be honest, a knife and spoon still work pretty darn well, don't they? 31. 12 reusable grocery bags were acquired in a heroic bid for eco-redemption. The plan? To become that organized person TM. Instead, the bags formed a nesting cult in the car trunk, whispering softly about a greener timeline that never came. 32. A baby hazmat suit. For their Chihuahua, bought after reading one too many Reddit threads about airborne toxins. They genuinely believed if chemical warfare broke out, their dog would lead the resistance. Mr. Snuggles hates it, and probably them too. 33. That set of perfectly balanced throwing knives. Not for any actual threat, mind you, but purchased with the vague idea of developing a cool, if slightly alarming park hobby. After a few near misses with a tree or a friend, they were retired for everyone's safety. 34. A high-end picnic basket, wicker, and all, with tiny ceramic plates and cutlery. It promised idyllic afternoons of civilized outdoor dining. In reality, it's bulky, and paper plates are just easier when you're battling ants for your sandwich. How many gourmet park picnics did that basket actually see? 35. An ergonomic keyboard you swore would change your life and cure all typing woes. Used for a week, the weird split design felt alien, and you quietly reverted to your old trusty keyboard, leaving the ergonomic marvel to gather dust, a relic of a more ambitious typing posture. 36. There was a phase, a mixology phase. That's when the freezer filled with artisanal ice cube molds. Spheres, skulls, diamonds, one shaped like Abe Lincoln. Bought for cocktail parties that were supposed to happen during hypothetical future social resurgences. Most guests still get ice from the fridge door, crushed. 37. A portable badminton set. The vision. Spontaneous, fun-filled games in the park or at the beach. The reality. Tangled net, lost shuttlecocks, and the realization that finding a winless day and a willing opponent is harder than it looks. Still got all the pieces? 38. Those noise-canceling headphones specifically bought for focus at the open plan office. While they did block out chatter, they also made you miss every important announcement and the free cake in the break room. Now, they're mostly for that one flight a year, if you remember to pack them. 39. A countertop herb garden kit. Purchased with dreams of fresh basil and mint at your fingertips for all your culinary creations. After the initial excitement, the herbs either withered from neglect or were overwatered into oblivion. Store-bought herbs are just easier, right? 40. That smart water bottle that glows to remind you to hydrate. An admirable goal, but the constant glowing became more annoying than helpful, especially when you just wanted to ignore its silent, illuminated judgment. Now it's just a regular, slightly over-engineered water bottle. 41. The emergency fondue kit. Nothing says, prepared for disaster, like being able to melt cheese with precision when society collapses. Complete with tiny forks and a tea light-powered pot, it's perfect for when you're huddled in a bunker craving Swiss cuisine. Because priorities. 42. That Bluetooth-enabled egg tray. It syncs with your phone to tell you how many eggs are left in the fridge. Because apparently opening the door and counting is too analog for the modern prepper. Now it just holds expired eggs, and your regret. 43. The foldable treadmill desk combo. The dream was to stay fit while working from home. The reality? Now it's a $500 clothes rack that occasionally flashes Error 9 whenever you try to use it. But hey, at least your laundry's at eye level. 44. A high-decibel personal alarm shaped like a cartoon bunny. It went off during a funeral, a wedding, and once in the middle of a yoga class corpse pose. Security wasn't impressed. Neither was Grandma. The battery's dead, but the trauma lingers. 45. That inflatable igloo wasn't for winter. It was their plan for surviving a heat wave. Trap cold air, stay frosty, they said. After 5 hours of setup and 5 minutes of use, it collapsed in a sad, sweaty heap. It's now the world's most elaborate backyard balloon. 46. A full survival manual written entirely in rhyming couplets. Educational? Sure. Memorable? Maybe. Practical in a panic? Not so much. Because nothing says life or death urgency like trying to decode iambic pentameter while you're bleeding out. 47. That heated butter knife. Bought because spreading cold butter on toast is apparently a crisis that needed innovation. It takes 10 minutes to charge and delivers 15 seconds of mild warmth. Impressive tech, if your toast is immortal. 48. A box labeled Instant Fireplace Ambiance, which turned out to be a DVD of a crackling fire with optional jazz. Great for when you want to simulate coziness while eating canned beans by LED lantern. Batteries not included. Feelings? Mixed. 49. A canoe. For the upstairs apartment. They feared a water heater explosion so severe it would demand immediate inland navigation. It's never touched water, unless you count spilled soup. Guests now ask, is this decorative or do you live in constant bathtub flood anxiety? 50. A keychain breathalyzer. Bought to make responsible choices, it was mostly used at parties for bragging rights and wildly inaccurate readings. Nothing like blowing into plastic to hear it scream, "You're fine," after 6 margaritas. 51. That anti-gravity yoga hammock. The promise: spiritual awakening and core strength. The reality: tangled limbs, ceiling anchors you don't trust, and one deeply humbling moment involving a faceplant. It's now just a suspicious-looking decoration hanging in the guest room. 52. A pocket-sized fold-out barbecue grill. For those spontaneous wilderness cookouts that never happen. You imagined sizzling burgers by moonlight, ended up with a rusted gadget that folds like origami and cooks like a candle. 53. The novelty panic button that screams when pressed. It was funny for 5 minutes and terrifying for everyone afterward. Taped under your desk for emergencies, but more likely to be accidentally hit during Zoom calls. Nothing says escalation like unexpected sirens mid-meeting. 54. That doomsday-ready freeze-dried lasagna. Touted as gourmet bunker fare, you tried one packet out of curiosity. It tasted like regret wrapped in cardboard. Now the rest sit in the pantry like tiny bricks of culinary betrayal. 55. A biometric fingerprint padlock for your gym bag. Because what if someone steals your sweaty socks? When the battery died mid-session and locked your stuff inside, you realized sometimes a regular padlock does the job just fine. Simpler times, simpler locks. 56. The emergency banana slicer. Because when civilization crumbles, the top concern will naturally be uniformly sliced fruit. Someone genuinely bought this, preparing for that unlikely event where perfect banana aesthetics trump finding shelter or drinkable water. It's probably still in its original, hopeful packaging. 57. Remember the Y2K-compliant can opener? Back in '99, people actually upgraded, fearing their old openers would forget their one job at the stroke of midnight. This new one was a safeguard, should existing technology suddenly develop amnesia about puncturing tin. Turns out the old ones were fine. 58. That solar-powered flashlight, a brilliant idea for eco-friendly preparedness. Except it was bought anticipating a power outage that, ideally, wouldn't happen at night or after several cloudy days. Stored in a dark drawer, its battery is now as drained as the owner's optimism for its usefulness. 59. A high-tech fridge camera that lets you check what's inside from your phone, so you never again wonder about milk. The problem? It became the most boring live stream in history. The only action was a wilting lettuce. You gave it a name. It died off camera. 60. They bought a microwave-safe armor vest. Yes, for themselves. The logic? If microwaves can cook burritos, they can probably cook people. It's now used to press flowers, or hide snacks, or both. 61. A designer Kevlar vest for the family dog. Yes, Fido got his own bulletproof attire, on the off chance his suburban walks might escalate into a full-blown canine turf war. Now it's just a very expensive, very stiff chew toy he'd rather avoid. 62. The pocket-sized, hand-cranked nuclear radiation detector. Because if you ever see a mushroom cloud, your first thought will be to meticulously crank this gadget for a reading. as a precaution before, dealing with the whole glowing issue. Comforting, isn't it? 63. Enter the tactical spork, part spoon, part fork, with a tiny, almost certainly useless serrated edge. This was purchased for that potential scenario where your campfire chili puts up an unexpected fight, or a piece of jerky requires delicate, prolonged sawing. 64. A literal lifetime supply of glitter. This shimmering mountain was amassed during an intense craft phase, anticipating a future where every single surface might urgently require an aggressive, inescapable sparkle. The craft bug left. The glitter, however, is eternal. 65. That pristine, full-body beekeeper suit. Snagged after a killer bee documentary marathon, the owner invested in this apiarist armor should their backyard become ground zero for a bee invasion. The local bees remain peaceful, the suit remains a garage ghost. 66. That pirate eye patch wasn't for Halloween, it was their negotiation enhancer, worn during Zoom job interviews and tense dinners with the in-laws. It didn't get them a raise, but the waiter definitely brought the check faster. 67. A self-stirring coffee mug, perfect for the dystopian influencer who finds spoons emotionally exhausting. One TikTok review called it the laziest flex of 2024. It stirred 3 drinks, then retired as a pen holder for someone's unearned ambition. 68. An inflatable moose decoy. Yes, a blow-up moose. The owner probably thought, this will be invaluable should I ever find myself needing to distract a real moose, or perhaps confuse my neighbors during a neighborhood watch drill. Be honest, what emergency calls for an inflatable moose? 69. Someone stocked up on still-wrapped DVD box sets of shows they've never seen, just in case the internet dies forever. Now those unopened bricks of cinematic guilt sit like cultural landmines, silently daring anyone to admit they've never watched a single episode of The Sopranos. 70. A survival slingshot with laser sight. Because when you're fending off, well, whatever you'd fend off with a slingshot, pinpoint accuracy on that squirrel or tin can is absolutely paramount. Forget learning to aim naturally. Technology will save your dinner, one pebble at a time. 71. That travel pillow that made you look like a time traveler who forgot how necks work. Promised airborne bliss, delivered cramps and pitying stares from row 22B. Did it ever help you sleep, or just secure your place in the awkward aisle hall of fame? 72. A plastic package opener, your Excalibur, for defeating clamshell packaging. Except when the time came, it was nowhere to be found. You used kitchen scissors, swore a lot, and accepted that opening batteries shouldn't feel like breaking into Fort Knox. 73. The perfect ice cream sandwich maker. You built 2 masterpieces before realizing it's faster, and better, to eat ice cream from the tub and cookies from the bag. The device now lives in a drawer, silently judging your surrender to dessert chaos. 74. Each subscription box promised a better, quirkier self. Beet jerky, beard glitter, a ukulele building kit. All bought for a future persona who wakes up early, drinks matcha, and starts projects. Instead, that future died under a pile of unopened boxes. The matcha expired. The beard glitter is somewhere. 75. A self-aware to-do list notepad with motivational insults. Each page screamed, "Do it, coward," or "You had one job." It was empowering, until you ignored it for 2 days and it called you soft bread. Now it lives under the couch, probably plotting. 76. A pen so fancy it came in its own coffin-shaped velvet box. It was supposed to sign important things, a book deal, at least a lease. What it got? Half a grocery list and a leak that turned milk into an accidental Rorschach test. Now it just broods in a drawer like an unemployed CEO. 77. Pet stairs. A noble gesture for your aging cat or tiny dog. They used them once, then chose whining, drama, or defiant leaping. Now they're furniture for the pet that demanded help, then refused it. Classic. 78. A smart trash can that opens with a wave. Sometimes. Other times it screams open at ghosts or refuses to budge when your hands are full of dripping doom. High-tech hygiene meets unexpected slapstick horror. 79. Dedicated pizza scissors. Because rolling cutters are too peasant? You imagined elegant slices, symmetry, applause. In reality, you grabbed the first knife, or tore the slice off by hand, caveman style. These scissors now rest unused, like a culinary overachiever's shame. 80. The industrial bug zapper that turns your backyard into a post-apocalyptic EDM rave for winged freaks. Mosquitoes vibed, moths perished. One fly survived 7 zaps and earned your respect. You call her Brenda. She owns the porch now. 81. A taco holder that promised clean shirts and dignity. It cradled your taco lovingly. Right until gravity, salsa, and hubris won. Turns out, taco entropy is inevitable. You don't contain the chaos, you simply accept it. 82. That anti-snoring device, maybe a chin strap, maybe Martian nose gear, bought in desperation, worn once. You didn't sleep better, you just looked like a time traveler allergic to comfort. The snores stayed. The gear, buried in the back of shame. 83. The mini fridge for skincare lives on a vanity like it's guarding the crown jewels of moisture. It was meant to extend the lifespan of luxury serums during theoretical heat waves. Instead, it hums quietly while holding 2 expired eye creams and a lip balm from 2019 that smells like regret. 84. A wine preservation system involving argon gas cartridges, hermetic stoppers, and dreams of sipping just one glass like a civilized adult. But civilized restraint proved less realistic than drinking the whole bottle and forgetting to recap anything. Science. Defeated by Chardonnay. 85. Someone bought novelty golf club head covers, plush squirrels, dragons, and a banana with sunglasses. The idea? Show flair. The result? A grown adult arguing with fabric before every swing. The clubs still slice. The squirrel still judges. Everyone loses. 86. That dimensional anomaly shielding kit from a glitchy late-night website. It had foil, mystery crystals, and symbols that looked like angry Klingon graffiti. Bought to block interdimensional thieves from stealing your cutlery. Realistically, a $39 tin foil hat kit. Cosmically, still not the worst idea. 87. A dozen books on quantum spoon bending and telepathic plant talk. Promised psychic awakening, and maybe bonding with your ficus. Turns out, spoons don't bend, and your plant's silent judgment is emotional, not metaphysical. Still, you did try whispering once. It blinked. Might have been the ceiling fan. 88. They bought a Morse code key to stay in touch after the internet dies. Except they never learned Morse, or met anyone else who did. It's mostly been used to nervously tap out Morse-looking nonsense during Zoom meetings. So far, no one has answered their plea. 89. Wind chimes made to repel aliens. Etsy claimed the meteorite-infused metal produced frequencies that drove off greys and reptilians. To everyone else, it's just clanking junk that makes your backyard sound haunted by angry forks. Still, no abductions yet. So, success? 90. A home lie detector kit, inspired by a particularly dramatic daytime TV marathon. It came with blinking lights, plastic sensors, and big promises. Instead of family revelations, it falsely accused the dog of tax fraud and single-handedly destroyed 3 Thanksgivings. Currently stored in the drawer labeled Things We Don't Discuss. 91. A mood ring, allegedly designed to reflect emotional states with shifting colors. It mostly hovered between confused swamp and existential fog. Either someone was permanently in an identity crisis, or the ring just needed therapy. Stylish? Sure. Accurate? Not even close. 92. That ultra-specific kitchen tool, maybe for spiralizing carrots into unicorn hair or decoring dragon fruit with surgical precision. Used once in a blaze of Pinterest confidence. Then banished, like a cursed relic, into the drawer of forgotten ambitions. 93. Celebrity-endorsed miracle insoles, promising posture improvement, pain relief, and, unofficially, levitation. Reality check. No posture, same pain, 0 hover. They now live inside a pair of sneakers no one wears, waiting to disappoint someone all over again. 94. A glow-in-the-dark Milky Way map, mounted above the toilet. The logic? If I'm abducted mid-bathroom break, I want to help with navigation. To date, no aliens have made contact, but several guests have, with confusion. And a follow-up text that usually starts with, "Hey, what?" 95. That deluxe calligraphy kit. Bought for writing elegant letters like a Victorian poet or medieval scribe. But the ink spilled, the nib stabbed, and everything looked like your pen had a seizure mid-sonnet. You haven't touched it since the Incacalypse. 96. That extendable back scratcher shaped like a tiny disembodied hand. Technically useful, visually horrifying. Most people still ended up rubbing against door frames like itchy bears, while the creepy hand loomed from a hook like it's judging everyone's flexibility. 97. A rotary phone. Heavy, majestic, unplugged. Meant to be retro chic, but it mostly just sits there like a brick with a curly tail. Every guest asks if it works. You lie. Of course, you say. It hasn't made a call since Reagan was president. 98. An enormous remote control. Bought because you can't lose it if it's huge. Except they still lost it. Twice. Once under the dog, once behind the fridge. It's now used to swat flies, change channels, and occasionally startle visitors who mistake it for a keyboard from 1984. 99. The keychain breathalyzer was meant to ensure safe decisions. Mostly, it told people they were surprisingly fine at 2 a.m., right before singing karaoke in a parking lot. Retired now, it lives with old receipts and a suspicious stick of gum in the world's most dysfunctional junk drawer. 100. That emergency sewing kit the size of a tic-tac box. Thread too thin to see. Needle too bent to function. You tried fixing a button, pricked your thumb, and used a safety pin anyway. It now travels with you like a placebo for responsibility. 101. And finally, fitness equipment that promised transformation. Under-desk ellipticals, pull-up bars, vibrating slabs of regret. None revolutionized anything except the way people drape laundry. At this point, some units have more experience as coat racks than exercise gear. That's 101 things bought just in case, and still waiting for their moment. Now it's your turn. What's the dumbest thing you've ever seen someone keep for an emergency that never came? Drop it in the comments. No judgment. Maybe. And if this list hit a little too close to home, subscribe. There's more where that came from.